Hello students, welcome to the series on marketing and retail business. Today we are going to study retail management. In this we are going to cover the future of retail marketing strategy. Now let us study the objective of this lecture. The basic objective is to study the future of retail marketing strategy and the impact of it on the changing trends of business. Marketing strategy is a long-term forward-looking approach to planning with the fundamental goal of achieving a sustainable competitive advantage. Now, what is marketing for any business organization? It is a concept where you try to connect with the customers, but it has to be sustainable. Sustainable, it has to be organic, that is, it needs quality and concern for giving facilities to the customers in such a way that the environmental and the conservation of resources also needs to be handled. So, we are going to connect with the customers in an eco-sensitive way to design and build solutions where disciplined habits can add long-term competitive advantages for the company. Strategic planning involves an analysis of company's strategic initial situation prior to the formulation, evaluation and selection of market oriented competitive position and contributes to the company's goals and objectives. The strategic planning for marketing involves an evaluation prior to the formulation of strategy. Evaluation is the cost benefit analysis, that what kind of inputs are added. These inputs must be sustainable, that is, they must not harm the environment, they must not harm the cultural values and any other ethical concern. The customer is conscious and needs branding in terms to get products which are innovative, which are environmentally eco-sensitive and they are designed that their life is comfortable. So, the market oriented competitive advantage is only achieved if companies are conscious, accurate and ethical. They need experts from the industry to understand as what could be the inputs in terms of nutrition, in terms of medical reactions or in terms of legal litigations or as terms to what environmental harms. So, we need experts from all the industries to build specialized products where all the needs of the customers are connected. Now, let us study the changing trends in retailing. The global retailing is in, technological advances are happening and stronger customer services are being needed. Now, the service orientation, the contribution has increased because most of the banking, the telecommunication and the other entertainment industries have become more oriented in terms like transportation sector, railways, airlines, they have become online. So, the technological connections for the customers are need of the moment and are demanded by them. So, we need streamlined operations, we need quality connections and we need non-intermittent processes to connect with the customers. Global retailing in terms where we have vendors and suppliers from all parts of the world, because materials and sub-assemblies and raw materials are sourced from different corners of the world to make things cost effective. The stores account for 90% of retail sales, but non-store retailing is increasing at a faster rate than store-based retailing. Basic forms of non-store retailing are direct retailing, direct marketing, e-retailing and direct selling and through vending machines. Now, what is non-store selling? Using other channels of retailing which need to be given attention in strategic marketing. If we are only physically marketing our goods, we may lose opportunities and we may lose options. So, even retailers who have physical stores, like they have got big malls, they have got good location, good assortment of products and merchandise, but they need to focus on multi-channel marketing strategies where they need to list their products online, give connections to the customers and also deliver online. So, this will help them to solve the problems of the customers and use various channels of marketing which are available to connect. The vending machines, the e-retailing and e-commerce also have become a big way to connect with customers. Now, developing strategy. There are uncontrollable factors as consumers, competition, economic conditions, seasonality. Controllable factors is location, central bureau district, strip centers, shopping malls, freestanding sites, goods and services, pricing, marketing and communication. Now, when marketing strategy is designed, we need to take two types of factors which can be controlled and which cannot be controlled, and they cannot become a part of your input at a strategy, but your strategy has to be flexible in order to respond to those factors. Uncontrollable factors are the changing taste of the consumers, the increasing competition in the market, the economic cycles, that is the recession and the boom in the markets happening, and also the seasonality of the products. There are various seasons which are coming. Seasons also depend on the events organized by international organization like cricket matches, where the sports and the entertainment gadgets will be used more. So, this factor is not in the hands of the companies, but do companies prepare for these events and festivals? The strategy input has to be accurate for controllable factors, that you have to choose the best location, get into the cost aspects for budgeting your malls. You can also go for versions where freestanding shops can be created in costly areas. Goods and services which you are buying and the assortment which you are collecting has to be trendy and reasonable and of some reasonable quality. The pricing and the marketing techniques which you design need to connect with your target customers. Every shop, every mall or every retail store has a customer base which has a taste, which has a budget and a preference. So, on the basis of your profiling, your strategic input will be specific to solve the problems and the frustrations of the customers. Now, let us study the strategy mix for retail sector. The strategy mix for retail sector needs to connect with the specialty stores, departmental stores, convenience stores, margin and turnover strategy mixes, gross margins and inventory turnover. First is retailing happens through different formats, that is you have departmental stores, convenience or specialty. The mix has to take the input regarding the format of the store. Then obviously after selecting the format, you have to decide how much margin you can put on your products, because if they are daily products which move fast in the market, the margins will be less. But they are special and designer products, the margins can be increased. So, if the products increase your turnovers, that can also improve the balance sheet statements and the funds flow statement. If the turnover is increased and even if profits are less, this turnover gives you a power to connect with banking systems in a good way. The total impact of this turnover on the margins can add up to the volumes and can give you at least a credibility in the market, because you are an outlet from where the products can be sold even if they are selling at lower margins. The inventory turnover, that is how much money has to be tied up in the inventory, how fast inventory is moving and what is the level of dead stock or what is the level of the products who have a higher shelf life. So, we need to design all the aspects in our strategy when we take up a retail center. Ethical and legal issues in retailing, the consumer fraud, the supplier labor practices, retail theft, slotting allowances, use of customer information and ecological consideration. Now, retailing also has become a big industry. Sometimes there are many retailers who are earning more than the manufacturers and they have become bigger than the manufacturers. They have turnovers which are beyond imagination. You have websites like Amazon, you have websites like eBay who have high turnovers and they have become big platforms who are giving volumes in terms, because the products have quality, products have convenience and connectivity. The database with this stores or with these kinds of retailing is enough and it is the largest in the world. So, what is the information which they are taking from the customers and how they are using this information is an ethical consideration and also a issue which needs to be designed in such a way that the strategy which you design needs to protect the data, the confidentiality, and how the marketing companies use the data. Most of the companies are using the browser information, and they are also doing the e-verification of the customers through the social media. So, the big data and the other ethical considerations which are taken by strategic experts in the industry are going beyond and interrupting with the privacy of the customers. So, when you design the future strategy for the marketing, you have to be very conscious to respect the customer if they are giving you the information about their preferences and their behaviors. So, the retail industry is changing in terms the kind of labor which is available, the skilled people who are available, how we can use them, and what are our moral values, so as to look after their professional skills, to protect them and give them the right incentives and train them. Apart from being positive to the customers, the companies also need to fight with the customers who are adding up and becoming burden. That is, lot of customer are cheating the companies, they are robbing. That is, most of the online companies are facing false grievances from the customers, where they get the products, but still they complain that they have not received the product, or if the product is good they will use it and return back. So, these are the issues which the strategies have to deal, and most of the companies now are trying to segment the customers who are credible and who show a good profile to connect. So, the companies are blocking the customers who are not respecting the company's policies. So, by doing this they will reduce the cost and also be considered as ethical companies who look to the customers who are credible in market. Now, let us study the market share and the growth strategies retailing related to retailing. They acquire other businesses, enter into joint ventures. Private labels and product development has also become a function of retailing. Retailing is going beyond manufacturing, in where most of the innovations are happening. Big retailers have acquired a brand which is bigger than the product's brand name. So, they give their own brand, like you have Pantaloons, you have Walmart, they have started their own products and they are selling many products under their own label. So, the brand has become very reputed, credible, and customers are investing lot of money and are ready to invest on these products. So, their branding solutions are also giving products and innovations which are not designed by many manufacturers. The risk of keeping these products in the malls and stores is that you require a lot of attention and lot of cost to hold these products. Otherwise, if you are connected with vendors, you can get the refund and the return of the product. 40% of the stock in changing fashion industry is again exchange. So, this is less cost effective when you are not working with your own labels, but when companies are becoming more powerful and their names are working more, their names are very big and are trusted, they are cashing on these strategies also. Merchandise private labels. Merchandise bearing a retailer's own brand name helps the retailer's own name to grow and not using the other's copyrighted name. Here the designers with whom the retailer has an exclusive license he can use. Now, when they use their own label, they need to connect with industry experts to cash on their name, which is becoming very powerful in the market, and generally they cannot use the copyright of the other people's brand, or they cannot cash on the other's image. So, they have to collaborate and take the license of the designer whose goods they are making popular through their own name. Now, competition. The competitive landscape is changing. It provides an overview of product competitors and their strength and weakness. Position each competitor's product against the new product. Competition in market has become intense and fierce. We have to take each product of the competitor and plot it against our own and analyze what is the cost they are giving, what is our cost, what are the features they are giving, what are our features. On this kind of benchmarking, you will be able to come out with a solution where you will give the best to the customers. If you are paying, if the customers are paying more, that is the features which they are getting should be more, and the convenient features which give comfort should not be cut, because that is the niche segment which you are connected, and this segment needs to be conserved. Positioning. Positioning of a product or service is the statement that distinctly defines the product in its market against its competition over time. It is a consumer promise, that is statement summarizing the benefit of the product or service to the customer. Now, what is positioning? Positioning is the basic profile of the product, where it is positioned according to its USP. That is, what is the unique selling proposition the product is added, and on the basis of its position is calculated in the market. It defines the product's worth in the market against the competitors. That is, even if you are charging more, but the product functionality is specific and the product functionality is catering to the segment where higher specialization is needed, the positioning will be high rated and the customers will even pay more if you increase your benchmark in the market through your functionality. Consumer promise is the expectation of the consumer which you are needed to look after if they are paying a certain amount of money. So, it is the value for the return of money invested, and this value for the return of money invested needs to be positive and sensitive, because we need to give functions according to the cost which they have invested. Now, let us study the communication strategies. It is messaging by audience and the target consumer demographics. That is, communication has to be multi-channel. We need to connect with mails and messaging. Messaging is instant. So, this helps the customer to look into what they are getting and how much they are expected to give, or what is the amount of money, or EMI calculation is easily done through SMS. The target consumer demographics has to be studied in terms of age, education, gender and their incomes. So, by this you will be able to design innovations and source products according to the requirements. Packaging and fulfillment. Product packaging is discussed from factor pricing, look and strategy. Is basically the fulfillment issues for items which are not shipped directly with the product. COG, that is, summarizes the cost of goods and high level bill of materials. Product packaging's basic function is to protect the goods from being deteriorated. So, the safety of the product has to be issued through good packaging, but packaging now is also a kind of a presentation where the customers feel proud to present the product to the other people to whom they are gifting. So, products as a form of gifting also has become important, where their look, their appeal and their value has to be designed, and when products are packed well, the safety of the products in transportation is being looked after. The cost of goods has to be designed in such a way that the cost of packaging and presentation is included, and the customers do not carry a heavy burden for all the extravagant packaging which is done by the company. So, we need to design a cost effective packing solution for the customers, where packing does not add the burden, otherwise it will increase the frustration of the customers. Launch strategies. The launch of the product is being announced, so we need a promotional budget. The supply backup material with detailed budget information for review has to be done. The product when it is launched, we need to design what will be the promotional incentives, how do we give the discounts, how do we build an incentive plan where the customers can connect, whether it is credit plans or whether it is the added incentives in terms of the free products which we are giving, or in terms of the free services which we are giving. This strategic input will help to connect to the customers in a better way. Maybe it is added in the cost, but you have to show to the customer that you are giving many free services. That will help the attraction, and that will help the strategic input being more accurate to connect with the passions of the customers. We need to study that if we are designing a promotional program and if the customers are attracted, we need to have a back end supply chain so that new versions can be designed. Now, let us study public relations, where the strategies has to maintain with the customers. The strategy and execution requires good PR strategies, PR plan highlights, have backup PR plan including editorial, calendars, speaking engagements, conference schedules, etc. Now, when a strategy is designed for the retailing sector, it needs to build a positive relation with the customers, where your presence need to be filled in terms that you connect with the customers, where your materials related to what is written in media, the stories, the content created on social media, the conferences organized, and how people have been happy to use the products when they enter the retail store. So, the bloggers and other people who are in the media need to be connected. If they write favorable about your stores and about your retailing aspects, the customers feel proud to connect to you, because that is the one part which enhances their image and credibility among friends and peers. Especially with the younger group, it is more important that they need to connect the retailing segment and the mall and the website as a status symbol. The strategic inputs also need to relate to international issues. The international distribution channels basically address the distribution strategies. They discuss the specific to international distribution channels. It also includes the international pricing strategy with localization issues, highlight the requirements for local product variations. Now, international retailing has become a big part of the retailing industry, where the international or the global brands are connecting with domestic brands to come up with their versions of the product. This has to be done in such a way that the budget solutions are given to the customers, and this would give a variety and a maturity to the retailing industry, because international distribution channels can add wide assortments and merchandise to the channels. This will help you to connect better to source the products at the lowest cost. Where the production is high, you can get the materials at a cheaper cost, but we need to consider the localization issues. Localization adds what is the local demand, what are the cultural issues, and what the customers are looking for. According to this, the local issues need to connect with the global issues, and we need to come up with tie-ups for specific products which are made internationally, but with local variations they can give satisfaction to the customers. Now, let us study the summary of this lecture. The future of retail marketing strategy connects to the cost effective online solutions given to the customers. Marketing has to be customized and cost effective for using promotions for the target customers. So, the retail marketing strategy has to be e-marketing strategy. Online solutions with physical presentations of the products is must. The physical ownership of the store gives you credibility, gives you pride and status in the market. The online solutions give you efficiency and speedability to your operations. So, both are important. The future belongs to people who update their versions of the physical stores and the e-channels. Thank you, students.